versus old Garp trail.
Bro, if you're debating it, bro, like don't waste my time because I actually don't know.
What?
I'm gonna just beat him in like 30 minutes.
Oh, look. Or like see beat the hell out of this guy because
Yeah, I will. Don't worry, man. I mean,
So
it's
you're just not gonna beat
Haramspongebob.
me. There's like literally no way. It's just stated Fujitoro as the buff.
All right, cool. Look, so you went from Fujitoro, or sorry, you went from what was his face, Green Ball to Fujitoro. I'm presuming that the argument's going to differ then, or you're just more confident in
1
Fujitoro.
second. No, it's just that I looked at the scan. I realized that Green Ball isn't in the scan, so I just picked Fujitoro for convenience.
All right, cool. So I'm presuming you have an argument.
Yeah, we just straight up stated that the admirals are the strongest fighters in what is it called? Let me see. The Fortress of Justice. Yeah, they're the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice. They aid people and crush the pirates. Stated in One Piece magazine number 14.
And you send me the magazine on scans.
Yeah, let me send it to you.
Wait, Future, you think the admirals are like the strongest as individuals in the Marine Force? It's like a pretty interesting interpretation that I do not sign off on. I do not think that's the case. I actually take the opposite view that they are not the
what's
strongest.
good, chat? So it's Haramspongebob. We're back with another fucking YouTube video. Today we're gonna be beating up on One Piece.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, so yeah, this chitty low tier is gonna get slammed on what is it, Fujitoro versus Old Garp. This statement right here, everyone can see it right here. One Piece Magazine 14. Let's get it. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, seize the name, the Bane's my game. Let's get it.
Alright, that was corny as fuck. You're already off to a bad start. Let's get it.
Alright, cool. Let's get it. Fuck.
So how are you gonna respond to the argument?
Oh, you sent the scan? Okay, wait, let me go back. I was doom scrolling on TikTok. The strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice, they aid the people and crush the pirates. Why isn't this referring to that title as admirals?
They're titles of admirals. It doesn't say that in the scan. It just says that they're the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice.
Wait, what's this referring to?
It's just their strength, their combative ability. Their combative ability is superior to Garp for each individual in the scan.
Wait, it doesn't include Green Bull?
I just said I was picking Fujitoro, bro.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it doesn't include Green Bull.
I don't know if it includes Green Bull, but this is in 2022. I don't even know if Green Bull pulled up into the manga yet, or if he was an admiral yet.
You don't know if Green Bull... Wait, what? Okay, hold on. Let's just get clear. So, this was taken in OP Magazine 14.
Also, if Green Bull is like an admiral and he's not a part of the scan at the time of the scan being out, that would mean it's not in reference to the title of being an admiral. It would literally just be something else, and it's probably just combative ability. If Fujitoro's combative ability is superior to Old Garp, then he's more likely to win in a fight because combative ability is like your hacks, your abilities, your stats, all that. It's all your overalls. If your overalls are superior, that means you're more likely to win in a fight when fighting another person. If their combative ability is inferior.
I'm just disputing whether because Garp is not found in the scan, that means that he's not part of the strongest within the Navy. Right? Because like there's characters like Green Bull who are admirals and yet they are not found in the scan, and we know that the admirals are part of the strongest in the Navy.
Maybe the strongest force, but maybe they're just listing the 4 strongest people in the Navy. It wouldn't really matter. The reason why I don't think it matters if Old Garp or fucking Green Bull are in the scan or not is because the author is just trying to communicate this idea that they are the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice. You've already agreed that it's, the Navy. And if these are I think that this is talking about being the 4 strongest fighters in the Navy. And I don't think like the other people are a part of this because I think if the author is trying to convey this information, that Fujitora, Kizaru, Akainu, Aokiji, and let's say Green Bull and Aokiji, no, not Green Bull and Aokiji, Green Bull and Old Garp are a part of the statement. If he's hiding that, then the problem would be that he'd be hiding information from the reader and that may confuse the reader. So he ought to put them into the scan if they're a part of the statement, if they're included in the statement.
I'm gonna try to see if I can find the term.
What's good, guys? This guy attacked the substance just cut out. So what did he say?
I said I'm gonna see if I can find the actual magazine.
What's
You
good,
said One
guys? This
Piece.
guy attacked these substances is gonna look for the magazine because he can't debunk the argument. Let's get it.
Okay. I mean, I could just talk about how Garp has feats that put him above the admirals, but I said I'm gonna look for the magazine to see what point it's referring to.
So you know whatever feat you're gonna bring up, I'm literally just gonna say that they're like situational or whatever, and there's some context which makes it so that the admirals, by the time of magazine 14, are stronger than Old Garp. They could get stronger, Old Garp could get weaker. I don't really care.
Yeah, that just presupposes that the feat comes before magazine 14. But look, let's just focus on magazine 14. I was just putting into question my inability or your claim that I have an inability to respond to the scan. I mean, I do have an ability to do so. I'm just interested to see when the scan was made and what knowledge the reader has at this point. So you said One Piece magazine 14. I can't find it like on Punk Records. Extra source material, One Piece, school volume.
See, it's
Spreads.
literally in the magazine section, bro.
Where
Right
can I
above.
find this? Oh wait, never mind. I see it. Magazines.
What did you say, Future?
Oh no, I was telling C where it was at inside of Punk Records.
Yeah, I'm looking now.
Yeah, what's good, YouTube? So this guy, Future, he's a high tier debater, pretty cool guy. He's gonna be amping C by giving him outside help with the scan so that C can just win the debate.
One Piece magazine 14. Wait, is that not Green Bull there?
Yeah, this guy might push me to high diff with the Future amps, bro. I'm not gonna hold you.
Okay, wait, I think I see what you're talking about. But I can't see the translation. Wait, hold on. What fortress are they talking about there?
You already agreed it's a Navy.
Oh, so the Fortress of Justice just refers to the Navy?
Yeah, just everyone within the Navy.
And they have Green Bull there. No, sorry. They have Fujitoro there, not Green Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I really can't find the magazine.
I mean, isn't
Fujitoro
Greenbull
has-
just a new admiral? If he's a new admiral, then I don't see an issue with him not being included in the scan. I think that kind of makes sense contextually. The new admiral might be a little lackluster. He's the new newbie on the strait. He's got to get stronger before he can keep up with the older workers of the Navy.
they
It kind
become
of
an
makes sense to
admiral.
me.
They become an admiral at the same time.
Same time, I guess he's just weaker then.
Yeah, look, I mean, I found the magazine that's being spoken about.
Okay. So what are you trying to do with the magazine?
Look, it seems like. Hold on, I'm looking at the magazine right now. I'm seeing Sakazuki, Kuzan, Isho, and Borsalino. But I'm not seeing where I would say the strongest defenders of the Navy. So maybe I'll just ask where you got the translation from.
Translation.
I'll forward the scans of the things to you. So this is like the first scan I'm seeing. Right, where did you translate that gets you the strongest protectors of the Navy? Because it's not even in a full spread like that.
The black text. Yeah, it's just in the black text.
Also repeated twice, says that these are the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice, and it says it again. Why couldn't it just be referring to the admiral position? And the reason why Garp isn't included in this because he's just not an admiral.
I've already answered this. What?
Would that not just fit better contextually? Like the admirals are known to be the strongest defenders, like the strongest fighting force, and so when it says they're the strongest guardians, whenever it's just reiterating this. Yeah, but we haven't seen. Yeah, Green Bull has been introduced to us yet. We know there's an admiral. We don't know the name of Green Bull. We don't know the face.
He has been introduced at all into the story.
We don't know his name or face. That's why he's not in the actual.
Oh well, I already answered this anyways. It doesn't say strongest like admirals or whatever, like strongest people with the specific position of admiral in the Fortress of Justice, or the people with the strongest title in the Fortress of Justice. It just is the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice.
Yeah, but we know
Garp is also a guardian of the Fortress of Justice, and he's not included in this visually whatsoever. So he's probably not intended to be a part of it.
Yeah, but if the whole idea is that it's referring to the admiral title, then of course Garp's not going to be included in it because he's not an admiral. That's like the whole point. And like furthermore, first and foremost, we don't have to. It's like a
Can
troll.
you
But
track
it doesn't
the
have to
argument?
say. Wait, just stop. Look, it doesn't have to say the
You're
strongest
not
title.
attacking the argument. Do you
Stop.
need me to repeat my argument to you? You're not attacking my argument.
Stop talking over me. Why are you doing like the weird?
You're not attacking my argument. Can
If
you
you
attack my
think that,
argument?
if you think that when I'm done with me not attacking your argument, just conclude. Okay.
Okay, you
So
want to
thank you.
conclude on the whole debate? You just lost
I
in
wasn't
15 minutes.
done responding to you. Like, what's wrong with this guy? This guy have autism? I'm trying to give
Why
the
are you,
response. You said
like, this
I was
guy
trying
is
to give the
shitty, bro? Why is he
response.
not tracking?
I was trying to give the
Just can you
response.
do
And you
better, bro?
said I was trying
I'm
to give
gonna
the
repeat the
response, and then
argument
you
for you.
said
If
to me,
you,
"Can we get
let me just repeat the
moderation,
argument
please?
for
I'm
you.
pretty sure
Can I
moderation's
just
a
repeat the
requirement in
argument
this
for you?
server.
I'll just shut
I
up.
get
Bro,
moderation.
chill, chill.
I'm pretty sure moderation's a requirement in the server. And look, I thought that you were a cordial guy. I didn't think I have to request moderation. But if you talk over me again, then there's going to be moderation. And it's going to be very more clear to see how some people are passed around the conversation. Look, the first thing you said was when they talk about the title, they don't mention, also when they talk about the statement, they don't mention their title. They just say the strongest guardians. But like, for example, the Aokiji instance, when they talk about Aokiji, they say that Aokiji is the strongest power, right? But we obviously know that's referencing the title, right? Because the kanji that's
Wait. Excuse me. What Aokiji instance? What Aokiji instance?
Okay,
What are you referring to?
Future, can you send me the Aokiji instance? Where it says like the whole thing where people are saying Aokiji is the strongest marine, when in actuality it's more like the title.
1 second. Yeah,
Thank
give me like a minute.
Yeah. Look, Future's gonna send it, but it's exactly what I'm saying. It says Aokiji is the strongest power in the Marines, but we know that's not true because he loses to Akainu, right, after a 10-day fight. Okay, so when it says strongest power, strongest guardians, when it says these sorts of things, it's more likely referring to their title as admirals, and we know this to be the case because we see in the Akainu and Kuzan instance, we're seeing feats and clips from them in Marineford, where Akainu's an admiral and Kuzan's an admiral, right? And then afterwards, we're looking at the clips of Kizaru and
Wait, excuse me?
Fujitora. We're seeing.
You're making multiple arguments. Can I respond to the first one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing, these are what are these guys? The elders? The elders of the elders of the world government. Yeah, I mean, they can say he's the strongest man in the Marine headquarters, sure. But then, like later on, like when do Akainu and Aokiji fight after this? Because they could have just like Aokiji could have just gotten stronger or whatever. I don't see why this is lending credence towards the fact that like it's not the interpretation that I'm positing.
Do you think what you just said interacts with what I just said?
What you said originally was, okay, so he's stated to be the strongest man in the Marine headquarters, okay? But then he loses to Akainu. So when they're talking about strength, it's probably just in reference to the admiral title, which is what you said pretty much word for word. Like, that's the idea. So given that, I'm saying if this guy, like, I don't know, Akainu gets stronger later on, and they're, like, basically dead equal. Well, not dead equal, but Akainu can be a little bit weaker, and Aokiji can be a little bit stronger at one point. If Akainu literally gets stronger over like 2 weeks or some shit, he can just beat him in their fight or whatever. I don't even know when this statement, like what chapter does the statement even come from?
Doesn't matter. Get stronger from. Wait. No,
it does matter because that could add more realism to the claim that Akainu could have just gotten stronger.
Wait, Rom, you want the chapter?
It's not about time. It's not
chapter, right?
time doesn't
Yeah,
change
what
anything.
chapter?
It's I think it's chapter 303.
303?
Yeah.
Don't these guys literally fight like after Marineford? That's like around 300 chapters bare minimum of like a difference. A lot of time could have passed in between those chapters. You know?
Okay. Yeah, look, time is irrelevant. I can grant that a lot of time has passed, but what's relevant is how he would have gone stronger. We know that when there's high-level characters, in order for them to get stronger, they have to fight high-level opponents also. And I find it very, very dubious to believe that Akainu, sorry. I find it very, very sorry. I mean, I was mid-sentence there. I find it very dubious to believe that Akainu engaged in a high-level encounter with a pirate and we just hear nothing about it. Or for the Velo Marine, we heard nothing about it. Typically, we have these high-level encounters, even if they're just skirmishes that last for like a day. For example, with Shanks and Kaido in Marineford, we hear notice of it. But we just don't hear any of the such for Akainu. So I don't know why I believe it's the case that Akainu is stronger. Sorry, what?
So that's the usual thing, okay? It being usual still leaves possibility for some odd occurrence to still happen, okay? And that's more cohesive with the okay. So I'm gonna write down two things. Okay.
No, just say it again with your voice.
No. I'm gonna forget it if I don't write it down. So it being likely. Okay, that not only do they have to fight, but it's also like this is a part of your argument that it's stated that they get stronger for these fights. Like they're starting a fight, they're fighting a strong person, and it's stated that they got stronger.
Was that like a question or like I don't understand?
That was my question. Is that your argument?
The argument is that time is irrelevant, and what's relevant is how Akainu would have gone
Dude,
stronger.
just give me a yes or no. I don't need a summary.
I'm not answering a question for yes or no. I'm going to answer by reiterating the argument. So what I was initially saying before I was interrupted was the argument is this. Okay, just make sure you're listening. Time is irrelevant. I can grant that like 50 years passed in between the scans. That doesn't change whether Akainu got stronger or not. As a matter of fact, time makes you get weaker in One Piece. What's relevant is how Akainu would have gone stronger. And we know that in order to get stronger in this series, he needs to fight high-level opponents. And I find it dubious to believe that Akainu fought high-level opponent, right? And we have no word of it from the story, right? When we have high-level fights that occur, even for a day, like Shanks versus Kaido, we get some notice of it. There is no such notice for Akainu, so why do we believe he got stronger? That was the argument.
Wait, hold on. Just want to double check something one last time. I might have forgotten this, but you're also saying that it's stated or at least implied or demonstrated in some way that these people get stronger by fighting strong people, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Kainu fights Whitebeard. Is that not sufficient?
Okay, wait, so you're saying he got stronger after fighting Whitebeard?
No, I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that it's some possible way for him to get stronger. And you're also saying that it's likely that you have to fight a strong person. It's going to be illustrated in some way, shape, or form. And that's how you're going to get stronger. And people in One Piece who are super strong can't get stronger in any other way. So I want you to prove the second and then the first. Is that fine? Prove that people... Also, I'm going to prove... No, third things. Also, sorry. I can write these all down for you. I want you to prove that in One Piece... for Aokiji and Akainu, if they get older over like a few months or a year or whatever, that they're going to get weaker. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to prove. Because you said that in One Piece, getting older makes you weaker. So you're going to have to apply this to Akainu and Aokiji, given the time frame between chapter 300-something to post Marineford, where they do fight. And I also want you to prove that it's likely that people in that it's impossible for strong people in One Piece to get stronger without fighting a strong opponent. And then the third thing I want you to prove is that for people in One Piece, when they do get stronger, when they're a strong individual already, they're going to fight strong people to do that. That's how it's likely done. And that it's
what was the third claim that you... What was the third claim that you think that I made? Let's just repeat that one more time. So you said one. You said one in OP for Aokiji and Akainu getting older makes you weaker. That's the first claim you think I made. Two, you said it's impossible to get... Sorry.
Excuse me.
Wait. I was
no. This is important. It's important. I want to clarify the first one.
No. You've been talking for like 5 minutes now. I want to get to
okay, but this is important. You're writing this down, right? I want you to be clear on the first one.
Just tell me the third thing that you think.
No. What? Okay, let me just tell you the first one.
Okay, so he wants to talk some more. He wants to waste our time again. Go ahead.
I'm not wasting time. I'm trying to get you to prove the claim that I asked you to prove.
Okay, wait, but you asked me to prove that in OP for Akainu and Aokiji getting older makes you... That's what you said verbatim. Now you want to revise that claim.
Not just that. I agree if they get 1,000 years older, they're probably going to get weaker. That's fine. But given the time frame between chapter 300-something to post Marineford, which is going to be around the 600s, I want you to prove in that time frame that they would get weaker.
So you think I made that claim, correct? Okay, cool. We can move on. What's the third thing?
That's an entailment of your claim because because that's the relevant part of the argument. It's part of one scan and then a fight in another scan. So you're trying to use to contradict my arguments.
So you don't think I made the claim? Do you think I made the claim, or do you not think I made the claim?
You didn't make the claim word for word, but that's something which is necessary towards proving your claim.
Okay, wait. So what claim did I make?
The claim that you made is that in One Piece, getting older makes you weaker. That's fine. That's fine as a general concept. Okay, but unless you can prove that it would apply to this scenario, then it's irrelevant.
So if that's fine, you just said that the claim I made is fine. which presumably means you agree, like you have no issue with it.
No.
So then how are you saying,
I
sorry,
agree getting older makes
why
you
does he,
weaker, but
look,
you
he
have to
keeps
apply
talking
it to
over me,
this.
he keeps talking over me. We're gonna have to get moderation. I'm
This
sorry,
is
look, you
not
just
that
keep
hard.
talking. You just keep talking. You
You're
said
an idiot. What are you
verbatim in
doing?
front of the
It's not
whole
that
VC.
difficult.
You
Literally,
said
just prove the
verbatim.
fucking claim. Holy shit.
You said verbatim in front of the whole VC that the claim as a general claim is fine. And I was making the claim as a general claim. And then you're going to have to prove that for a Kain and Aokiji, them having a 4-month gap makes you weaker. Like I made that claim, or like that's entailed by the claim I made. It's not entailed. It's not even implied. It's not even suggested. It's not even a corollary. You don't know what you're talking about. So let's take away point 1, right? Because you agreed, we both agreed that was a retarded thing to say. Let's talk about point 3, which is why I asked you 3 minutes ago.
No, you're still gonna have to prove number 1, or literally your argument just isn't gonna go through.
3? What
So
was
wait,
3?
what did you say 2 was? What did you say 2 was? Because I was over talking you. Excuse me. What did you say 2 was?
Point 2 was it's impossible to get stronger in OP without fighting a stronger opponent. That's another claim you think I made, right?
No,
now,
when you're a strong fighter in particular.
What's 3? Tell me claim 3. What's wrong with this guy? He's like fucking running through the question.
Fix up claim 2.
No, I'm not going
It's
to.
impossible for strong fighters in One Piece to get stronger without fighting someone else who's strong.
Tell me claim 3.
Claim 3?
Tell me claim 3.
Claim 3. I think I already said it to you, but I'm trying to remember it because I just lost track.
Yeah, I know you said it to me. I'm saying tell me it again, right? Because
I know, but you literally just buried and just wouldn't write down points which were important. So I just had an issue. Yeah, right. See, where I'm having this issue where I'm trying to remember what was just said because we just said so much.
Tell me claim 3.
Claim 3.
Claim 3. What's wrong with him? Tell me claim 3.
Okay. So claim 3 was, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct me if I'm wrong. How would I know? It's your claim. You'll give me the burden.
Wait. Do you have it? Well, I'm saying you already wrote something down for claim 3 because you were writing out what I was saying, right? You haven't wrote down anything?
No, I just want to ask you to tell me if I had something on. What would I ask you to tell me? Okay, bro. I'm gonna go on mute because I'm gonna swear at you really badly.
Why do you talk so fucking zesty? Like, what the hell?
That's so ironic.
I don't talk like that.
She, her pronouns in the bio, gay flag, trans flag.
Buddy, I'm LARPing. What are you talking about?
Yeah, LARPing as a gay. That's what normal people do, like LARP as gays, yeah. You want to give me claim 3? It's been how long now? Like 5-6 minutes?
Yeah. Okay, retard. So claim 3. Yeah, so claim 3 was that Akainu, when in between like chapter 300 and 600, when he fights people like Old Whitebeard, those fights aren't gonna make him. No. Okay, I remember the claim. Okay, I'm gonna drop that because I remember exactly what it was. Okay, so I want you to prove that in One Piece, okay, it is likely. Okay, so when we say that it's likely, you're gonna have to, give some evidence, at least more cases than not. So at least one case which supports this, okay, where a strong person has to fight another strong person. It has to be illustrated that they get stronger for people to get stronger. It's likely that that's what's gonna happen. Okay.
Okay. Is that all the claims, or is there like more?
Yeah, that's all the claims.
Okay. So I just want to make this clear. Hold on, let me write down claim 1 again so I can illustrate your stupidity to anybody that's listening. You said Ainu and RPG over the given period.
This guy think he's a showman or something. What is he doing?
As time goes on. Okay, are you gonna stop talking so I can address these things, or?
Okay, so that's not what I was trying to ask you to prove for claim 1. But sure, I don't give a shit. What's number 2? What's number 2?
Can you moderate, please?
Yeah, please, Akazuki, moderate. Holy shit.
Like, he keeps talking. I'm like tired. I've been trying to get the burden straight for like the past 6, 7, 8 minutes now, and he keeps talking.
Give me a second. Is there someone else in VC with perms? Because I'm in the middle of a game at the same time.
Yeah, I can mod.
Yeah, future mod,
That'd
please.
be ideal.
This guy's obnoxious, bro. But look, if he talks to me again, you know what's gonna happen. So look, this is what he said, right? I have everything written down. So the 3 claims that he thinks I made are: 1, Akainu and Aokiji over the given period get weaker as time goes on. 2, it's impossible to get stronger in OP as a strong fighter without fighting another strong opponent. And 3, that I have to prove that in OP that it is likely that a strong person has to be illustrated that he gets stronger after having a strong fight. Look, I want to make things very clear. I made no such claims, and none of these burdens are actually relevant to the claims I made, at all. When I brought up the time thing for the first point, all I said was, if anything, time makes you weaker. right? But that was not me saying, oh, time makes you weak. I'm just saying if we're going to look at all things considered with characters that get older with age, of course, age would make them weaker. I'm not making a claim that for Akainu and Aokiji specifically, age would make them weaker. That was me saying time is irrelevant to the discussion. I don't care how long it's been or how short of a time period it's been in between the statement that we're talking about for Aokiji and Marineford or whatever, or Punk Hazard. That's irrelevant because what's relevant is what happened in between those time periods. So that's the first thing. I never made a claim at all about whether Akainu and Aokiji get weaker as time goes on. The second thing he said was, I have to prove that it's impossible as a strong fighter to get stronger without fighting a strong opponent. I didn't really say that either. I don't know where he's getting that from. Which is like a good inductive case to believe, however, that in order for you to progress as a fighter, to a significant extent, the way in which this is done is by fighting opponents that are on your level or slightly stronger than you.
You send the evidence for that, please?
Sorry. Can we get like a mute on that guy? We could look at like the evidence for like there's looking at people like Luffy, for example, right? So we have like characters like Luffy. Every time Luffy has a fight with somebody that's around his level, he develops and he grows as that fight goes on. Ray Lee, Huguru, whatever his name is, these guys say like, oh, Haki blooms in the midst of combat, and then Kaido makes the claim that abilities alone can't conquer the world, it's Haki. So you have this very important facet. In fact, Kaido would say the most important facet of your combat ability, which is Haki, and Haki develops most quickly, develops most significantly through being put in difficult situations. And we have Luffy, who's the main character, right? So he's the focus, he's the central character, and the main way in which Luffy gets stronger is through fighting opponents that are similar / stronger than him. Okay, so that's the great evidence for the idea that although it's not impossible for you to get stronger in OP without fighting a strong opponent, it's usually the case that we want to get stronger to a significant extent. The way in which this is done most efficiently is by fighting opponents on your level, right? People like Sabo are shown training their fruits and stuff like that, but people like Sabo as well, as it pertains to their fruit, are inexperienced, they're beginners and novices in that domain. So that's not really going to be entirely relevant to what I'm saying. So that second thing was like a straw man. And the third thing just doesn't even interrupt what I'm saying. I'm not saying that in order for somebody to get stronger or whatever, that has to be illustrated. I'm just saying it has to be, not even has to be, but it's more likely that we're going to be told about it, right? For example, Shanks and Kaido, right? Shanks and Kaido had a skirmish, a scuffle, like a day-long scuffle or something. Or I don't even know if it was a day-long, but it happened yesterday. They had a scuffle and Shanks was in Marineford that day, right? And it wasn't even like a high-stakes fight. He came there with no injuries. He was perfectly fucking fine. And they still told us, oh, by the way, Shanks and Kaido had a scuffle just the other day, and now he's already here with the red hair pirates, whatever, right? So what I'm saying is when we have these high stake fights or these fights in general that are important to the story, we're going to be told about them. And surely if Akainu fought a high level opponent, right, because that's the most likely way for you to get stronger to a significant extent, surely if Akainu fought a high level opponent, right, that caused him to get stronger, whether it's through a Haki bloom or whatever else, we would be told, but we're not told, right? So I'm not disagreeing that Akainu could have fought people. I'm not disagreeing that he could have trained, but we're just not told or given any indications by the story that he's going stronger. When usually when people get stronger, we are given these indications. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so let's skip this whole calling out the strawman fallacy thing. Okay. I think if I just get the scaling off, I'd literally just win. Just want to end this here. I mean, you can wait. I guess to make this more entertaining, you can give your chain scale for why you think, I don't know, Old Garp is above Fujitoro. And if you don't lose the first point, then the chain scale can go off and maybe you'll win or whatever. If I decide to contend it or not.
Wait, do you realize you're on the affirmative for the first point, right?
Yeah, I'm on the affirmative. If I win the first point, then the premises follows to the conclusion, and it would just be that Fujitoro is above Old Garp.
Wait, hold up. So you're on the affirmative. You're saying that the statement strongest guardians refers to the wait, hold on, wait. Actually, let me look at the scan in more detail.
I'm not repeating my
Oh,
argument.
wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on, let me look at that in more detail. The strongest.
As a low tier.
Alright, cool. Yeah. Alright, cool. Look, you're saying that the scan in question is referring to each individual member being the strongest, and I'm saying it just refers to their title as admirals. And I don't think you gave a response to me saying, and I just want to repeat these because I'm not allowed to. I don't have to hide arguments from you. I just know you don't have the argumentative ability to combat them. So I'm going to repeat this to you one more time. I don't think you responded to me saying that these scans show instances of these characters when they are admirals. Right, so like it includes Akainu, for example, and this was made post time skip because it has Fujitoro as an admiral, right? So it's made post time skip. and it includes a Kainu, but it includes a Kainu pre-time skip from when he's an admiral when he's protecting the fortress, and not post time skip when he's a fleet admiral. So it lumps him in the same group as the admirals. Why would they do that if it's not about their status as admirals?
So this is pre-time skip before he's an admiral. If they're lumping him in, it would just be because of his actual power, not the status. Hello.
Same as like Aokiji. Aokiji post time skip leaves the fucking Marines. He's now like a part of the Blackbeard Pirates. They still lump him in with his feats pre time skip when he's an admiral because it's talking about the admiral statement, no?
Excuse me, did they lump him in with his feats, with a statement specifically like this guy is the strongest man in the Marines? Or do they just say that this guy is strong? Like,
bro,
if it's not in reference to Marines in specific, then there's no connective, so you're not really getting any argument across.
Anyone there? I'm talking to you. We'll talk about your magazine statement. In your magazine statement, which is written post time skip, because it includes Fujitoro, we have Akainu and Kuzan, right? Kuzan is not in the Marines anymore, right? So he's not a part of the strongest Guardians, right? And Akainu is a fleet admiral, okay? And yet, nonetheless, it includes their feats pre-time skip from when they were both admirals. And I'm asking you why. It seems to make more sense that
Wait, excuse me?
Specifically with Kuzan. Are you going to interrupt what I said this time?
Yeah, may I interrupt? I'm asking to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You're saying he's not in the Marines anymore as of the time of One Piece Magazine 14 statement? Can you prove that?
The Kuzan guy, is it not still? Oh my fucking word. Oh, this guy's gay. Alright, wait, bro. One Piece Magazine, Volume 14. Scroll up. Wait, hold on. Let me just ask Future. Future, when is Fujitoro said to be an admiral? Was this after it's revealed that Kuzan's not in the Marines anymore?
Wait, you're asking me, was it revealed after Kuzan left the Navy or something?
Yeah, like look in the scan that you forwarded. In that bottom left scan,
Yeah,
right? That's from the manga.
Yeah, he was specifically put in a place to fill in the power vacuum left behind.
Okay, cool, perfect. So it shows Fujitoro there in that scan in the bottom left. That's probably like Dressrosa, probably, right?
Okay.
And that's after we are revealed that Kuzan's not in the Navy. Look, bro, that scan's fucking booty ass. Booty ass.
Can you
Okay,
send a
that's
scan that like supports that
yeah, no
LPG is not
problem.
in the Navy anymore?
Thank God that I went to Punk Records and actually looked at the shit that you were trying to pull. It was a good tactic to try and like crop the scans, like I couldn't see the context and what they were talking about. Pretty good stuff there, but look, I mean,
What context did I crop out?
where
I didn't
talking
crop
about
anything out.
Fujitoro post time skip, there's like context you're asking for right now. Look in scans, try to reply to it. So wait, you asked me the question. You never asked me the question. You said, prove it to be the case that the magazine was written before Kuzan was revealed to have left the Marines. And we see on the bottom left Fujitoro in Dressrosa, and that's after it's revealed that Kuzan has left the Marines. Right? Because the whole reason why he's an admiral there is to fill the power vacuum, same with Green Bull, since Akainu is our fleet admiral. So yeah, I mean, I like a response to the argument I'm going to give. It's like the second time I've given it.
Why can't this just be something where it's using like Aokiji's power back when he was a guardian of the Navy, like he was a Navy soldier, he was a Navy Marine, and just use that power in reference to current tense. Like current tense, Aokiji is above like old Garp or whatever. Maybe he retains the power. Even back then, even if it's only talking about how back then, Aokiji and Fujitora are the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice, it just means that Fujitora is still above Old Garp, in my opinion, because I think Old Garp's strength either remained stagnant or declined from the time of that statement. Because it's the Dressrosa thing for Fujitora's picture. Yeah, I think by the time of that, I think Old Garp either remained stagnant until like current or just gets weaker, in my opinion.
I mean, like, I know you have that opinion. Like, we all grunt and sign off on the fact that you have that opinion. Like, I mean, I'm not too sure what you're saying.
Do you want
so
justification? Like, that's kind of a nothing burger. Of course, I have that opinion. I just said it, but like, what exactly is that opinion for anyone?
Yeah, just keep talking nice. I mean, look, you didn't give an argument. You just said, in my opinion. Like, cheers. I know you have that opinion. Thanks. Look, what I'm asking you is, do you think what you just said interacts with what I just said?
It does, because if Old Garp's strength has remained stagnant,
No,
and it's
not that.
It's just in reference.
That's irrelevant. This is you like trying
That
to
is
shadow box
relevant. You want me to
arguments.
explain? You
No,
want me to
no,
explain
no.
why that's
That's like
relevant?
you. Can we get some
If
moderation?
old
This
Garp
guy's.
at the time of Fujitora
Can we
being
get some
stronger
moderation?
than
Can we
him
get
as
some
a guardian of
moderation?
the
Can we get
Navy.
some moderation? Can we get
Wait,
some
wait,
moderation?
no.
No, no, stop talking. I've said that's not relevant because I'm talking about the first scan, which is silent on Garp's feats and his strengths. Right? You can hold, under your view, keep in mind, you can hold that Garp got 1 billion times stronger, but it doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter is because you are arguing that these are the strongest Navy fighting force. So we're just interpreting that statement. And what I'm saying here is this. I'm saying that what you said, your interpretation of the scan, which is like it's using Kuzan from back when he was an admiral and using Akainu from back when he was an admiral to explain their strength currently, not only is it retarded and it goes against what you were saying the first time, but it also just doesn't work. The first thing you were saying in the previous point when I pressed you was, oh, like couldn't have Akainu gotten stronger from when he fought Whitebeard? You know? Let's use that same logic. So we got stronger when he fought fighting Whitebeard. And he probably got stronger when he was from fighting Aokiji too. It was a 10-day fight, high stakes. They both suffered wounds. They both pressed each other, tickled each other's nuts. Very high stake fight. Okay, so they probably got stronger from that too. And you think that an accurate representation of Akainu and Kuzan's strength after the fact, because they both fought Whitebeard and they both fought each other, obviously would be them from before they fought Whitebeard and them from before they fought each other? Like troll, obviously, right? And the second thing is it just doesn't interact with what I'm saying. Like, I agree that they're referring to Kuzan and Akainu from before they left the Navy and from before he became a fleet admiral. I'm saying the reason why they do this is because the overarching title of the day book or the magazine, whatever it's called, i.e., the strongest Marines or the strongest protectors of the Navy, whatever, the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice, that's referring to their title as admirals. That's why they show them as admirals, because it's referring to their title as admirals, right? Pretty simple stuff there. But yeah, you can respond to this too. I'm gonna go on mute because I'm not spurred like you.
Oh shit, whoops. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know what this dude is like doing. Like, this is so weird. Like, okay, so I never said earlier on in the conversation that the pictures of the characters in this statement, in this magazine, are in reference to the versions that they're saying at the current moment of time for each picture are the strongest guardians of the Navy. I never said that. Okay? I think it's in reference to current tense. I think currently, Aokiji's strength surpasses Old Garp. I think currently Fujitoro's strength surpasses Old Garp. I think all of these guys currently surpass Old Garp. Okay? At the time of the statement. Okay? The reason why I think this is because it's for one of two reasons. Okay? One. No, it's just one reason. It's just one reason, but it's sort of just tied into the same reason. If Aokiji from months ago or Fujitoro from months ago don't backscale and are above Old Garp now, then that statement is basically worthless. It's not informative to the reader whatsoever. Okay? And making a statement about the strongest guardians of the Navy while showing multiple different time frames is probably talking about how strong these characters are, even though they were previously guardians of the Fortress of Justice for Aokiji's case, now. Okay? So you just didn't track the argument. Literally just that. And for the whole Old Garp thing, Old Garp in Egghead says, I've gotten weak because of old age. That's what he says. He isn't saying, oh, old age is affecting me, but I'm getting stronger with time. No, he's talking about the drop-off that he's experiencing because of old age. So given that, that's what makes me think that he's at the same level, if not inferior to how strong he was back during Marineford, back during the time frame where we see these admirals on picture in the magazine.
Wow, I mean, I'm like really surprised. Look, I got the reasons down. Both of them are equally as gibberish as the other. Like one is gibberish and like the other is literally just a non sequitur. The first reason he gave for believing in this, like keep in mind, he has yet to interact with the argument I gave. Right? Like he's listening to me talk, or he's not actually listening to me talk. He's letting the sound play through his ears, and then when I'm done talking, when he hears that there's no more sound playing, he's like, well, you're actually a dumb fuck because of this, and this, and this, and this. And he'll mute up again, and like the cycle will fucking repeat. This time, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay?
Just keep talking.
You're on the that was pretty gay. But you're on the affirmative here. I'm just giving an interpretation
I was like,
of
yeah,
the
just leave the
scan.
fuck
Sorry,
with me.
I'm just giving an interpretation of the scan that's equally as, if not more consistent with the data presented, right? So I sent the Kuzan instance from pre-time skip, where it says he's the strongest man in the Marine headquarters, but that likely refers to his title as a admiral, right? Which is shown by the kanji that's used and how they call them a similar title in Marineford, the strongest Navy fighting force or the strongest Marine fighting force, etc., etc. That sounds pretty similar to the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice, because the Fortress of Justice under your view is the Navy. So when it says the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice under your view, that's the strongest guardians of the Navy, which sounds pretty similar to the strongest Marine fighting force, the strongest fighting force of the Navy, whatever. Okay, that's the first thing. The whole point here is that I'm saying it's referring to the title. You made 2 points about why you have the view that you do, which is that it's not referring to the title, but rather just singling out Fujitoro, Akainu, Kizaru, and the other guy, I forgot his fucking name, as strongest in the Marines, right? So the first reason you gave in the previous monologue was my view is like uninformative and meaningless. Like if it's the case that they're referring to instances from before, like therefore doesn't tell the reader anything, because that's what uninformative means. I'm like, it's obviously informative, right? Because it's reiterating a very frequently reiterated point in the series, which is that the Marines have a force called the Admirals, and the Admirals are the strongest fighting force of the Navy, right? As in a collective, they are the strongest fighting force. That's why in Marineford, which they conveniently take scans from Marineford. In Marineford, they have the Admirals there, and the Admirals are, doing their protective work. And what's his name? Fujitoro there, in post-time skip, is also doing the admiral work and stuff like that. It's obviously showing how the admirals are considered to be the strongest marine fighting force as a collective. And that's why it doesn't include things from post-time skip, of people like Kainu post-time skip or Kuzan post-time skip, because of the fact that, well, there just aren't admirals anymore. Kuzan's like Blackbeard pirate member and Akainu's a fleet admiral. Like if it's the case that they're talking about Akainu post time skip, they're talking about his strength currently, then why is it the case that they don't reference him being a fleet admiral? Like it just seems to be obvious that they're lumping them in to talk about their admiral status. But look, I don't even have to show all of that. I just have to show it's equally consistent with the data, which like it obviously is. And the second thing was like you like deliberating about Garp getting weaker. I don't care. Like I don't care if Garp gets weaker under your view. Cheers, well done. How does that connect back to what we're talking about here in the first scan? And I'm gonna give you like the last time to respond.
This guy just did not fucking track. Hold on. So real quick, can you explain something for me? What in the scan says that it's talking about them being admirals? I know that's what's illustrated through the pictures, but is there any dialogue which says that these guys are all admirals?
We know that they're all admirals.
Okay, so there's no dialogue. So I think it's because even
dialogue
if
would
it's
be
using some, even if it, hold on. Even if it's using some past version, okay? The thing that you showed initially with the Admiral Akiji thing, okay? This is around chapter 300. Those pictures are from Marineford, which is like hundreds of chapters later. Fujitora's thing is from Dressrosa, which is hundreds of chapters later, okay? We've already gone over the 3 points. You didn't prove why Akainu wouldn't get stronger. That's stupid. Okay, you straight up didn't prove it. You didn't even make it more likely at all. So given that, Fujitora is just straight up going to be stronger than Old Garp, given this statement, given the reasoning prior. And the reason why I think, even if you want to say it's some past tense statement where it's talking about the admirals from the past in the time of these pictures, the power should still backscale, because if they're weaker now than Old Garp, then that statement isn't informative and it could serve to confuse the reader. That's a problem. That's bad from a story writing perspective. That's not true?
I have a question.
Why isn't that true?
Do you know why Garp's not an admiral?
Why is he not an admiral? Because he just turned down the position or something?
Yeah, he turned down the position. And under my view, the statement's talking about the admirals, right? So it's saying the admirals are the strongest marine fighting force. As in, this collective is the strongest, right? Not individually. They're not individually the strongest compared to people that are not admirals. They are just collectively, as a collective, the strongest. That's all they're saying in the scan. And so it's actually very informative. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't confuse the reader, because the reader, under my view, will understand the statement to be saying.
It's my argument. I said earlier that's not within the statement. It just says the strongest guardians, not the strongest collective of guardians of the Fortress of Justice.
That's what's in question. That's what's in question. Whether you're interpreting the strongest guardians.
That's in question? It's in the scan.
Sorry.
Read the scan.
Sorry. That's what's in question. whether the strongest guardians of the Fortress of Justice refers to the title of Admiral or not. That's like literally what's in question.
Okay, so I've already served to support this by saying if it was in reference to what you're talking about because of the dialogue does not match the meaning that you are interpreting from the scan. Okay?
Why?
So if the author decides to go with that interpretation when making the scan and writing the dialogue, what's gonna happen is he may serve to confuse his audience. Okay? Because linguistically, that's not what this statement means in a
That's what's in
vacuum.
question.
That's in question. How have I not justified that? You want me to go through grammar to explain to you why strongest guardians isn't the same as strongest collective of guardians? You want to explain that to you? You want me to explain the difference in meaning of one versus the other?
Wait, is guardian singular or plural?
Guardians is plural, but the problem is you're talking about as a collective. Collective is not in the statement whatsoever.
Stop. Why can't guardians refer to a collective then?
It could, but the problem is that is not a word. It is not additional context within the scan, which is supporting that.
So linguistically speaking, it also makes sense to interpret it as a collective, yes or no?
No, it doesn't make sense linguistically. We can literally send the statement to like 5 different people.
Nobody's
going to interpret it that way, and we can literally look this up. That is not what that means linguistically.
So guardians doesn't mean a collective.
Guardians on its own, just saying the strongest guardians? No, that's not what it means. If you want to say the strongest collective of guardians, yes.
Think about it. All of the Marines, think about it. Think about it. Stop talking. Think about it. All of the Marines are guardians of the Navy, right? Insofar as they protect and aid and crush the pirates. That's like their whole job as Marines. That's what they're supposed to be doing, right? But it singles out these people from when they were admirals. Specifically from when they were admirals. So it singles out Akainu specifically when he was an admiral in Marineford, as opposed to when he was a fleet admiral, right? And it singles out these individuals.
Maybe it's just singling out PG back when he was actually working for the Navy.
Stop talking.
And I literally just said that my interpretation is that these guys are strongest in the Navy.
Can we get moderation?
So it doesn't matter if you talk about titles.
Can we get moderation? Like, you're a spurg, bro. You're actually a spurg. Like, an actual spurg. Look, as I was saying, all the Marines are guardians insofar as their job is to protect the Navy and to crush the pirates. So insofar as that is what the scan states, all of the Marines are guardians, but it singles out these guardians to be the strongest. Whether these guardians means every single guardian there is stronger than every single guardian that's not there, or this set of guardians are the strongest guardians, as in the set of guardians, the strongest set of guardians, is what's in question. And you haven't proven that you can repeat it. So you haven't proven that you can't interpret this in a way that's a collective and it still makes sense. I don't know what the contradiction is there. If you're saying like it's non-standard usage, I'd like to see some empirics on that. So yeah, man, either empirics or contradiction, like which one?
So I'm just responding to chat. Unironically, you just didn't respond to my argument, and you've just been sort of just like stonewalling, not really addressing the thing at hand for this entire debate. Do you have anything else to say? You can go to your scaling now. I think we're done on this point. I think you've literally lost everything. I don't think you've addressed the three like ridiculous burdens you put upon yourself. Okay, you literally said it's impossible for Akainu to get stronger in 300 chapters unless he fights someone strong. That's what you said. So we can move on. Because you just made a stupid ass claim, multiple stupid ass claims. You didn't prove any of them, and I just debunked you on everything.
Okay. So if that's what you think I said, if you think I said it's impossible, despite me making a whole,
I know that's what you said. Move on. Stop wasting my time.
Stop talking. Despite me making a whole monologue about me saying I'm not saying it's impossible, he still thinks I said it's impossible. Look, we can just move on. Like, you're not tracking. So apart from this scan, which you were on the affirmative for, like, how do you interpret Garp punching the shit out of Kizaru?
Cool. He's
stronger.
Garp is stronger than. What do you mean he punches Kizaru? What? When does that ever happen?
Garp
punches Kizaru?
Does he not?
Garp punches Kizaru? This guy didn't read One Piece, bro. He's
not Kizaru. Sorry, not Kizaru. How do you interpret Garp beating up Marco and then Marco fighting relative to Kizaru?
So he literally just runs up on Marco, punches him, guy falls out of his Phoenix form, and Marco is just relative in speed and can push Kizaru back. Cool. Okay. I mean, does this do anything? Like, what? Currently, Fujitoro could just be above I mean, he can just literally just be above like old Garp. Kizaru and old Garp can both be relative to Marco. It doesn't debunk any of the scaling unless you want to say like there's definitive scaling for why old Garp would have greater combative ability than Kizaru, and have it be in reference to currently, because my interpretation of the statement is currently. Kizaru's current power would exceed old Garp's.
Why?
I've already said the reasoning for this. I'm not repeating this for you.
Wait, do you not take it? Hold on, wait. Do you not take it to be the case that in the scan you sent initially that the version of Kizaru that they're referencing, given the photos, is Kizaru and Marineford?
No.
But
Maybe they
use the
are.
photos.
Maybe they are, but I mean, I guess if you're gonna show something which would go against the scaling, then I would probably just say like I don't know, Kizaru got stronger or whatever to reconcile the issue. But how exactly? But let's address your scaling first. How
But that's
exactly are you gonna
irrelevant.
say
Wait,
that
that's
old
not a
Garp is
response.
above Kizaru?
That's not a response. I'm not gonna let you like change the topic.
It is a
to
response
evade
because
the
if
fact.
currently he's
So
stronger than he
why
was
is he
back
like
in
shadowboxing
Marineford,
against?
then it
Why is he
wouldn't work.
shadowboxing against arguments I have yet to give? I said that's not a response. He said, actually, wait, no, that is a response. Then you haven't heard me give a response yet.
Shut the fuck up and just
There's
give
no
your argument.
rejoinder. You're responding to nothing. I haven't given a rejoinder yet. Do you want to like calm down, breathe,
Give your
let the
argument
opponent get the
for old
argument
Garp. Give your argument for old Garp. Stop
I'll
wasting
just
my
call on
time.
moderation again, like you're a weirdo.
No, just give your argument. Stop wasting time.
Yeah, I'm going to respond to the counter that you gave to my argument I've already
Bro,
given.
Haram, just let him speak, bro. Like,
what's
it's
wrong
hard
with
for me
this
to
guy?
mod because I'm playing
So,
Overwatch,
like, just-
and whoever agreed to do that shit is not doing that shit right now.
Look, just to be clear, I mean, I already gave the argument. I don't know why he's telling me to give the argument again. It's pretty much there. Garp pulls up, punches the fuck out Marco, and then Marco like been going around to Kizaru the whole fucking time. And like that just calls into question Kizaru's combative capability. He then brought up how Kizaru could have gone stronger or something. And I said, wait, hold on. Isn't the scan you sent initially that talks about Kizaru being the strongest or whatever in comparison to people that are not in his position, doesn't that refer to Kizaru at Marineford? Because he uses photos of Kizaru at Marineford, right? Like the photos of Kizaru we see are of Kizaru in the Marineford saga. And like you were just like, no. I don't think that's a rejoinder, right? Because if it is the case that it is of Marineford Kizaru, and you think this statement applies to Marineford Kizaru, then Garp should very well be weaker, but he's not weaker as shown by the showings, and so we're kind of confused here. That was the point. Do you want to respond to the point this time?
Okay, so maybe you do need to repeat this. What exactly did you say for why old Garp's showings put him above Kizaru? He just beats up Marco, is that it?
He punches the fuck out of Marco.
Why is it unlikely or impossible for Kizaru to do this?
He goes row with Marco the whole fight.
Okay, can you not just punch someone you're relative to? Garp lands a punch. Does this mean he gaps him? Like, what?
Yeah, like Marco charges towards him, and then Garp just charges back and just fucking punches him. Do you think if Mark was relative to this guy, like this would not have happened? We don't see this happen to anybody as truly relative to anybody else.
So this guy's going towards Ace, and then old Garp randomly just jumps up and then just punches this guy in the face when he's in Phoenix form, and then he just flies down. It's also a different form than his half form, which he used against Kizaru.
Wait, where do you think Ace is? Do you think Ace is like in the sky? Do you think Ace is on the ocean? Where do you think Ace is? Right?
Platform.
Yeah, where do you think Garp is standing in front of?
He's sitting on the seats next to the platform.
Okay, so Marco is going towards Garp. Hello?
No, he's going towards Ace, and Garp is just in the general vicinity. Okay.
And then Garp says, "If you want to pass, do it over my dead body, right, brats." Right, and you think like Marco's like, "Oh yeah, this guy's not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna see you do skate." Like, you're retard.
This guy's a cornball. Why the fuck did he say that shit, bro?
Read the scat. Look, you're trolling me. You're trolling me. You're actually dog shit, bro. Make sure to upload this, by the way. Also, follow Shinra and follow C. Let's go.
You didn't. Hey, bro, follow Shinra and follow C. Follow these fucking low tiers, bro. Follow these fucking low tiers, bro. They getting slammed. Let's get it.
You've been getting slammed like the whole time.
You're some dog shit, bro. Some actual fucking dog shit.
You've been getting slammed
fucking
all the
ass.
time, man.
Fucking ass. Fucking ass.
Are you gonna respond to the Garp string? What's wrong with you? Come on.
Okay, so he's sitting on the platform, but I mean, like, you didn't even address the other point, so I think we can just move on because
what was the other point? What was the other point?
I'm not gonna repeat it for you. Pay attention next time.
Oh, why would Kizaru get stronger?
It's not what I said, but I mean that is another point you could address too, I guess.
Okay, I mean, I think
That's
the
not the
argument I
point that I
made.
was trying to have you respond to.
What was the point you wanted me to respond to?
I'm not gonna tell you the point.
This guy's a
Track the point next
bitch.
time.
He's a bitch.
Track next time, bro.
Like for this
He's
to
a
because like
bitch.
no, for this
He's
to actually like be a
afraid.
genuine feat, you should just repeat it to him
No,
because
he's
otherwise,
afraid. No, he doesn't have
Yeah,
to.
he's
He's
in
afraid.
full form. Yeah, he's in full form here against Kizaru. He's in half form. So, okay. But where's
Do you,
the back scale?
do you think that Zoans are stronger in full form or half form? Like, let's hear it.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
about
it's
being
like,
stronger. Maybe half form makes you faster. Who knows?
why?
I'm unsure, bro. I'm unsure. I'd have to see a motivator for why like full form would be just as fast, if not faster.
What do you think the difference is? Let's talk about it.
I don't know. One literally just makes you bigger. Literally just makes you bigger. It means you have more mass and stuff. You have more stuff to move.
That's not
Like
true.
you're a rat. What?
You think
And
making something bigger means it has more mass?
no, not just that, but bigger in size, so he has more to move. Okay, so speed is distance over time. If you have to move more, this may result in you having lower speed. Okay.
Wait, I agree that
Because
speed is
also
distance over
because
time.
it could be like
I
more weight.
disagree.
More weight is what I mean.
No, I disagree
More
that there's
weight.
more weight either. As a matter of fact, I think there's
Why do you
less weight, right?
disagree?
Because I think
Why do
there's
you
less weight.
disagree?
I think,
You think
why
there's
does he
less?
keep
Why?
talking? Why does he keep talking? He's like an idiot. He just, oh, why do you disagree?
Just,
Why
please stop
disagree?
interrupting. Thank you.
This guy's like an
Shit.
autist. Anyways, look, what I was gonna say was like he's an idiot. He keeps trying to make these claims about how Marco in full Zoan is gonna be like slower or could be slower. You're like an idiot. Marco in full Zoan is like pure flame. Right? It's like when you say because he looks bigger, that therefore he's like heavier, or therefore like he weighs more, or like whatever. No. Right? If you know the equation for weight, right, which is gravitational field strength multiplied by mass, right? If the mass of the individual is constant, presume he's turning his full body into flame, no part of his body is lost, then the mass is constant. He does not weigh more. Him being bigger, right? I don't know what you mean by bigger here. I mean, maybe you mean like he covers more area. Does not mean that he now all of a sudden moves slower. Like that's not anything mentioned in the distance, speed, time formula. Um, speed is distance over time, and distance is like the length, I guess you could say, between 2 points. It does not have anything to do with the length of the body that's moving. You're like a complete idiot. And then what's it called? Him being a bird, like it's like an actual argument, actual high tier fucking argument. I just thought off on the spot because you're a rat. Him being a bird means that he's more streamlined for flying, no? Because he has a body that's more suited for flying. So when he's flying in hybrid form, right? He has a human body. Human bodies are obviously not suited to flying. When he's flying in full Zoan form, he has a body that's suited to flying, obviously, because he's a fucking bird, you dumb fucking nigger bitch. And so obviously he's gonna be faster because he's more suited to flying. Very simple stuff. So you can respond now.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I want you to prove his mass remains constant. That's the first thing. The second thing is you talked about how his body becomes more streamlined. He's already a bird in half zone form. So he's already somewhat streamlined. So unless you could quantify like why Marco, like give the actual quantifications for why it's likely or why it definitively is the case that full zone Marco is going to be faster and is going to be able to block just as fast, if not faster, than half form Marco, then I don't think you could use this as a speed feed. I'm also going to bring up another issue I have with this later, but we don't have to talk about this right now.
He asked me to prove mass remains constant. I already did prove that mass remains constant. I'll just like give the argument again. So how it works is it's like if I transform my whole body into flame, haram, and presumably no part of my body is lost, haram, then the amount of mass I have remains constant. Like if I have, I don't know, a block of wood and I manage to like melt the wood somehow, like I've melted wood now, as long as like no piece of wood is lost, right? I have the same mass of wood. The mass of wood remains constant. I mean, like that's just how it works. You have like the same amount of wood, the same mass of wood. And so like that's just the reasoning. Unless you think like whenever Marco transforms into full form, like he loses parts of his body, right? Which is like gibberish. Like he obviously fucking doesn't lose parts of his body. The parts of his body just transform into flame. So he transforms his whole body into flame. And given that he transforms his whole body into flame, his whole body is now just flame. So the mass that was his body has now just become flame. And that could explain why it looks like he's bigger, right? Because the flames are spreading and whatnot. But nonetheless, the same mass is contained in the flame. That's the first thing. I think the second thing was him asking me to like quantify the difference between streamlined forms. Like that's not even an interaction, not even like remotely interacting for what I'm saying. I like repeat one more time, I suppose. Him being a bird means that his body is suited for flying, adapted for flying. That's like how birds are. Birds are like adapted for flying. Him being a half human, half bird means that his body is less adapted for flying, not more adapted for flying. And so the idea that he could be better in the hybrid form is like gibberish. At least he'll be equal, if not worse, in the hybrid form because he has a body that's less suited to flying and moving around whilst airborne. And so that's like the whole idea. If you want to give a response, low tier, you can go ahead. If you don't, we can conclude.
Low tier, low tier. So I'm literally just asking for a quantification on the whole streamline thing. So I want you to prove also that like when Marco transforms into a phoenix, his body just straight up doesn't disappear. I want you to prove that. Because where is it? If it doesn't disappear, where is it? Like where's it go?
Flame. It's the
It's the
flame.
flame.
That's why I didn't hear the first bit, by the way. I think you asked me for a quantification for how much more streamlined they get. Is that what you asked me for?
Yeah, a quantification to where he'd be more streamlined to the point to where he would just be faster in full form versus hybrid form.
Okay, if you think that's what I said, then like you're an idiot.
But that's the relevant part, though, because Kizaru is literally attacking, is fighting half hybrid form, Marco.
Cheers. If you think that interacts with what I said, then that's fine. I'm not repeating it again. I mean, cheers. The second thing that I was talking about, like obviously the body becomes the flame. And like the reason for this is simple. When you have armament haki and you attack a Logia user, guess what happens? You touch their real body, you force them to solidify. And so like what that means, Haram, if you don't know what the word solidify means, is that you force them to revert back to their human form. If their body was lost, like the wind or lost to the surroundings, then when you touch them, parts of their body would be gone. But like obviously they retain parts of their body, like very fucking obviously, because you can touch their body. So their body is literally just the flame now. So yeah, man. I mean, that's science. Let's go.
Okay, so the thing that I want you to prove is that hold on, no, not that. I want you to prove that Garpo, no, not Garpo. Shit. I want you to prove that when Garp hits Marco, it's a relevant speed feat because that's a travel speed feat. That's not necessarily a combat speed feat. He darts from A to B and then punches him. It's not like he was in close quarters and then he extended his arm to punch the guy or whatever. He literally dashes towards him. And maybe the speed of his dash was too much to where Marco just couldn't block in time. But if they were in close quarters, then the guy just would have been able to block or whatever.
So look, I think the burden you placed on me now, our low-key was not listening. I think the burden you were saying was something like, oh, like prove that this is like a relevant speed feat because he's like moving towards him. So like a travel speed feat actually, and like maybe if he was fighting hand to hand, it would have been different. Like, just like gibberish. Like he's heard Garp say this, right? Like Garp shouts it to everybody. He says, "You guys like bitches, and if you guys try to go past me, I'm gonna like show you guys what's what." And then he just gets hit. Like I don't know how like more worse this could be for Marco. Like he's charging towards this guy. He hears Garp announce that he's going to attack, right? And then he still gets hit. Like surely he could have raised his hands to block. Him moving forward does not affect his ability to raise his arms up to block. Or surely because like he has like sorry, huh?
Yeah, prove that. That's literally the whole burden. You literally just didn't justify it. You literally just committed a begging the question fallacy. You did not explain why this travel speed feat would correlate to combat speed. You didn't prove that at all. You literally just assumed the conclusion.
Should I show you an instance of somebody moving forward in one piece and then blocking afterwards?
That wouldn't prove anything. I agree people can block when a character moves forward in one piece. What I'm saying is the dash speed in tandem with the punch might be too great because it also builds momentum than what a regular punch speed feat would be. So maybe Kizaru, well, that is relevant because maybe Kizaru could also replicate this too if he was in the same situation and he did the same thing.
The dash just doesn't affect his ability to move his arms, right? The energy is on his whole body. right? And like the dash is
You
not
didn't
affecting.
track, or you
Like
didn't
you
pay
know how
attention. I'm
you
gonna
know how when
repeat this.
you know how when
The
sprinters
dash
run
may make
forward,
it so it
stop.
gains momentum, so it doesn't backscale. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't even know what momentum is. Like all I'm saying to you is
You're a fucking
that
idiot. Of course, I know
if
what
you
momentum
sprint
is.
if you sprint forward, I mean, look, momentum just mass times velocity. What you're saying is irrelevant. If you sprint forward, right, you can still pump your arms. As a matter of fact, if you watch sprinters actually run, like do exercise, like if you go to the gym, which I know you don't do, they run all the time. When they run, they move their arms up and down, right? It's like inertia, like the inability to like change direction or whatever, like that whole thing, that only applies to like when you're trying to move to a different direction after you're already going in one direction. It does not apply to your arms. You can raise your arm, and even better, you can use telekinetic abilities because he's like a fucking Zoan. You can use telekinetic abilities, right? And you can use your telekinetic abilities to control the flames with your mind, which has nothing to do with your body, right? And so, there's like two reasons there why he could just blocked.
Okay, so I don't. Okay, so maybe I've missed something. I'm missing the part where this proves that Kizaru wouldn't be able to replicate the same speed feat if he also had the momentum to just literally just throw a punch at Marco. I'm missing that, and I don't see how this backscales to combat speed. Okay, because when you have momentum, you move faster than you would normally. Okay, it's obvious. I don't know what the issue is.
I don't know what he's saying. Garp has no momentum here. He's at a standstill.
He's running toward. He's literally just flying towards Marco. Why would he not gain momentum?
Oh, okay. You're talking about when he jumps up and punches him.
That's the fucking. That's literally the panel we're looking at.
Okay, so he jumps up and punches. Okay, that's what. I thought we were talking about maybe Marco having momentum. Okay, look. In that instance, obviously has momentum.
Wow,
Anyone
the
that's
tracking
moving,
of doom.
yeah, anyone that's moving has momentum because, like I said before, momentum is mass times velocity.
Greater
And
momentum.
right,
Greater momentum, to be more precise. Greater momentum.
yeah, because he dashes forward. Kizaru does the same thing in Egghead when he's fighting Luffy. He says something like "Speed is power," and he fucking dashes forward and does the same thing. When Odin is fighting, Whitebeard, he runs forward, he slashes. He's like, "Oh, let me join your crew." When fucking Roger's fighting, he runs forward as well and he slashes Odin and sends him flying. Everybody uses momentum, right? That's just like normal. Look, all I'm saying here is this:
not
this is
tracking.
defeat.
Not paying
This is
attention.
defeat. This is defeat. This is defeat. This is defeat. All defeat is this. Marco hears this guy say that he's going to beat the fuck out of anybody that tries to go to the platform. And so obviously he's expecting an attack. And then he still gets hit after expecting an attack. He could have blocked telekinetically with his flames. He could have blocked with his arms because moving forward does not affect how your arms move. He could have done any of these sorts of things. He doesn't do these things, so we can expect that he like got blitzed. Like the whole idea is from there is that we see Marco fight relatively with Kizaru. And like what Haram is saying, it's like, what if Kizaru was in that position and Kizaru jumped up and punched him too? But like Kizaru does that in his fight against Marco, and nothing happens. So
He does that in his fight against Marco. You can show the panel for that. That never happens. But even beyond that, so momentum may not increase the speed at which your arm would move from point A to B, but it increases the speed at which your entire body moves from A to B. Because your body is accelerating more, your arm is already being pushed forward. It's sort of like, let's put this into an example. Let's say you're sitting on a train or whatever, or a bus. If you walk forward, you're going to get to point B faster if you're at point A because your body is already being propelled forward. Okay, so given that, that's why the speed feat of Old Garp may not prove that Old Garp is actually above Kizaru, like at all. But also another thing, none of this shit is relevant at all. I literally just wanted to go through this point to just be skeptical and just beat the fuck out of you on this, just out reason you, because this thing is not relevant to my argument at all. You just literally straight up did not track and just shadow box for 30 fucking minutes. You're retarded. Your ass.
wow, man. I mean, I also just wasn't listening to the stuff you were saying. I haven't been listening for like a good 25 minutes. So your responses are so predictable and so low tier that I can literally just do whatever I want on my phone. I can doom scroll on TikTok. I can like go category for category in the GC or Shinra. And like I can come back to the debate whenever I please. Tune in and like respond, like put my knee on your neck and strangle you, right? Because you're just really bad at debating. I think the two things you were saying was like somehow this point is irrelevant. By that, you probably mean something like, oh, well, I think that
he's already got stronger. And so it's actually fine because it can be the case that Kizaru got stronger, so this thing is actually referring to a strong Kizaru. And I think Garp actually got weaker. Yeah. I feel like the second thing you were gonna say, like the first thing that you were gonna say was like some gibberish about how I think it was something to do with how when you're walking forward, it doesn't actually affect your ability to like raise your arms or something, or it does affect it or something. I don't really quite know what that means.
Because what it means is that old Garp, if he has momentum, his body's going to get to point A to B faster, even if his arm itself doesn't have some inherent additional speed quality to where it would move faster than normal because of this momentum. I already gave you the whole bus and train example. If you're running while you're on a train, you will get from point A to B faster, even though your body doesn't have some inherent quality, which makes it accelerate more. The train is just propelling your entire body from point A to B,